Hey guys, we are taking a look at the Marrow Thieves today. And with the Marrow Thieves, we'd like to suggest for Frenchie's running playlist, Out of the Woods from Taylor Swift's new album. So the Marrow Thieves is pretty good. It's one of those that has a sequel, and I had to go and borrow the sequel as soon as I finished the first one because I needed to know what happened next. And we were going to the lake, and so I had to hurry up and download it while we were at Taco Bell so I could have Wi-Fi and I could download it. So this one, I think we may have a copy at the school library, but definitely through Pioneer Library, which is where I downloaded it on Overdrive and listened to it on my phone on the ride to the lake. So let's get started with Frenchie's coming to story. Mitch was smiling so big his back teeth shone in the soft light of the solar-powered lamp we'd scavenged from someone's shed. Check it out! He held up a bag of Doritos. Oh no. Hang on, I lost my page. Between us, a big bag for us to have. Holy Mitch, where'd you get that? I touched the air pressure bag to confirm it was real. My dirty fingers skittered across the shiny surface. It was real. My mouth filled with spit, and a rotten hole in one of my molars yelled its displeasure. In the last house back there, hidden on top of the cupboard, like Ma used to do when she didn't want us to get into stuff. Ma had only been gone a few months, so talking about her still stung. My brother popped the bag to cover our hurt. And like cheese-scented fireworks, that loud release of air and processed dust cheered us up. We were in a treehouse somewhere on the outer rim of a small city that had long been closed down like a forgotten convenience store. We were a few hours out from southern Metropolitan City, which used to be Toronto back when there were so many cities they each had a unique name instead of a direction. West City, Northeast, Southeast Township. It was a great treehouse. Some lucky kid must have had a contractor for a father. It was easily 2 stories up from the unmowed lawn and had a gabled roof with real shingles. We'd been there for 3 days now, skipping school, hiding out. Before he'd left with the council and we never saw him again, Dad had taught us that the best way to hide is to keep moving. But this spring had been damp. It had rained off and on for over a week, and we couldn't resist the dry comfort of the one-room treehouse with built-in benches. Besides, we reasoned, it was high up like a sniper hole, so we could see if anybody was coming for us. It probably started with that first pop of nostalgic air against metal plastic, no louder than a champagne cork. I imagined the school truancy officers, recruiters we call them, coming for us, noses to the wind, sunglasses reflecting the row of houses behind which we were nestled in our wooden dream home. And sure enough, by the time we'd crunched through the first sweet, salty handfuls, they were rounding the house in the backyard. Poop. What? Mitch put down the bag and turned to the window cut into the north wall. Francis, you're going to have to listen really carefully. What? I knew it was bad. He never called me Francis. No one but Mom ever did. And then only when I was in trouble. I'd been Frenchie since I could remember. Listen now. He turned away from the window to lock eyes with me. You're going to climb out the back window and onto the roof, as low down as you can get. I can't climb out a window! Yes, you can. And you will. You're the best climber there is. Then when you're on the roof, you're going to grab the pine tree behind us and climb up into it. Stay as close to the trunk as you can. You have to shimmy into the back part where the shadows are the thickest. You go first. Too late, buddy. They know someone is up here, just not how many someones. I felt my throat tighten to a pinhole. This is how voices are squeezed to hysterical screeching. No! He turned again, eyes burning with purpose, bordering on anger. Now! Move it, Francis! I couldn't have him mad at me. He was all I had left. I clambered out the window and folded upward to grasp the slats on the roof. I shimmied up, belly to the wood, butt pulled down tight. I lifted my head once, just high enough to look over the small peak in the center. Just enough to see the first recruiter lift a whistle to his mouth, insert it under his sandy mustache, and blow the high-pitched terror tone from our nightmares. Under the roof, I heard Midge start banging the plywood walls, screaming, "Tabernacle! Come get me, devils!" Fear launched me into the pine. The hairy knots on the sticky trunk scraped my thighs, sweat and skin holding me there. The needles poked into my arms and shoved into my armpits, making me tear up. I pulled my sweaty body towards the other side of the pine, scrapes popping up red and puffy on my thighs and torso. All the while the whistles, two now, blew into the yard. "Come get me, morons!" I saw both of the recruiters now, high-waisted navy shorts, gym socks with red stripes pulled up to their knees above low, mesh-sided sneakers, the kind that make you look both fast and professional. Their polo shirts were partially covered with zip-front windbreakers, one shade lighter than their shorts. The logo on the left side was unreadable from a distance, but I knew what it said. Government of Canada, Department of Oneirology. Around their necks, on white cords, hung those god-awful silver whistles. Mitch was carrying on like a madman in the treehouse, yelling while they dragged him down the ladder and onto the grass. I heard a bone snap like a young branch. He yelled when they each grabbed an arm and began pulling. He yelled around the house, into the front yard, and into the van, covering all the sounds of a small escape into the trees. Then the door slid shut. An engine clicked on and whirred to life, and I was alone. I wanted to let go. I wanted to take my arms off the trunk and fold them to my chest like a mummy, loosen my thighs from their grip, and fall in a backward swan dive to the bottom. I pulled one hand back and clutched the opposite shoulder. Deep breath. You can do this. The other hand shook as it began to release. The skin in my thighs burned with the extra strain. Soon they too would be unclenched. Deep breath. If I survived the fall, which was possible, I'd be taken to the school with Mitch. This thought was appealing at first, and for a brief moment I had some kind of TV reunion in my head. Me, Mitch, Mom, Dad. But I knew that's not how it would go. A few had escaped from the schools, and the stories they told were anything but heartwarming. "There's a man named Migwants who came by council last night," my father had said one night when we were still together. "He escaped from one of the satellite schools, the one up by Lake Superior." Dad had bags under his eyes. He gathered us around the kitchen table to talk, but spoke haltingly, like he'd rather not. He told us what's happening to our people. It wasn't easy to hear, and he was frantic, trying to leave right away, looking for this Isaac fellow. "Jean, maybe the boys should go in the other room for this." Migwan says the governor's committee didn't set up the schools brand new. He says they were based on the old residential school system they used to try to break our people to begin with, way back. He paused and drank half the liquid in its greasy grass, a kind of moonshine he kept in an old pop bottle on the back stoop. He placed it on the hard picnic table we'd hauled into the main room of the cabin. The glass echoed from the wood in its hollow curve. It was punctuation. It made me jump. He was in the gloomy place he went to when he spoke about how the world had changed. He said we were lucky we didn't remember how it had been, so we had less to mourn. I believed him. I gotta say, guys, there it is. This first chapter is pretty long, so I'm going to stop there so I don't have to cut it off for YouTube. But you definitely can read this. He survives the fall, and there's a lot more to know about Migwams, Frenchie, and the life they lead. And I hope you enjoy it and get a chance to read it. Thanks. Have a good day.